The sound of rain against the window filled the quiet office of Dr. Philip Morrison. Hannah sat on the couch, hands clenched together, trying to keep her breathing steady. Across from her, her husband Jason leaned back casually, one ankle over his knee, acting like he'd already won something she didn't know she was competing for. They had been in couples therapy for 6 weeks now. Jason's idea after she found messages between him and a coworker named Leah at 2 a.m. It was just work stuff, he'd said, but Hannah had felt the shift long before that night. His laughter stopped, including her. His eyes looked elsewhere. Dr. Morrison adjusted his glasses. "Let's start with communication today," he said gently. Jason smiled faintly. "I've been trying document. But Hannah shuts down whenever I ask her how she feels. It's like talking to a wall." Hannah's throat tightened. "That's not true. You just don't like what I say." Jason tilted his head. "See? Defensive." Dr. Morrison scribbled notes while Hannah stared at the floor. Lately, every session felt the same. Jason painting himself as calm and patient while she looked like the problem. Still, she came every week because she believed in saving their marriage. At least she thought they both did. When Dr. Morrison stepped out to refill his water bottle, Hannah finally looked up. Jason's phone buzzed on the armrest. He snatched it quickly, turned the screen away and whispered, "Yeah, she's buying it. 6 more sessions should make me look committed." Hannah froze. Her husband didn't notice. "Yeah, Miss Hartley said the judge loves when one spouse makes the effort while the other looks cold. Once therapy's done, I'll have the house and the equity." There was a soft laugh. "She's too emotional to fight back." The air left Hannah's lungs all at once. She blinked, unable to process what she'd just heard. He was using therapy as proof. Her heartbeat thundered in her ears. Jason hung up and pocketed his phone like nothing had happened. When Dr. Morrison came back, Hannah forced a shaky smile, her hands trembling under her notebook. She couldn't confront him yet, not without proof. She reached into her purse, pressed the side button on her phone and opened the voice recorder. "I'm ready," she said softly as if nothing had happened. Inside she was burning. For the next 20 minutes, Hannah listened in silence as Jason performed his role perfectly. He spoke about her emotional distance and his efforts to fix things. Every word felt like a knife. But the recorder caught it all. The calm lies, the careful tone, the false image he was building. When the session ended, Dr. Morrison smiled kindly. "Progress takes time," he said. Hannah nodded, but her mind was already racing. She had the proof now, the truth he thought she'd never find. That night, Hannah sat in her car outside their house long after sunset. The porch light glowed faintly through the rain, flickering like a warning she wished she had seen earlier. Her reflection in the windshield looked like a stranger, tired, hollow, but still determined. When she finally stepped inside, Jason was sitting on the couch scrolling his phone, the picture of calm. "You're late," he said without looking up. "Therapy ran long," she answered quietly. He smirked. "Yeah, it's really helping you open up." Hannah forced a small smile and headed straight to the bedroom. As soon as the door shut, she sat on the edge of the bed, replaying the recording. Every word burned. "She's too emotional to fight back." That line became her fuel. The next morning, Hannah drove to work in silence. She worked as an HR coordinator for a small tech firm downtown, the kind of job that kept her busy enough to think but quiet enough to disappear. During her lunch break, she called her friend Olivia, who worked at a law office. "Liv, I think Jason's planning something," she said softly. "What do you mean?" "He's using therapy as proof to make me look unstable, so he can take the house." There was a pause. Then Olivia said, "Do you have proof?" "Yes," Hannah whispered. "I recorded him." "Good girl," Olivia said. "Bring it to me tomorrow. And don't say a word to him until we talk to someone who knows what they're doing." That evening, Jason was unusually affectionate, too affectionate. He cooked dinner, opened a bottle of wine, and even asked how her day went. "You've been distant lately," he said between bites. "I've had a lot on my mind." "Well, maybe therapy is finally working," he said, reaching across the table to touch her hand. His smile didn't reach his eyes. Hannah pulled her hand back gently. "Maybe," she said, pretending to play along. But her heart was pounding. She could see the cracks now, the way he measured every word, the rehearsed charm. It wasn't love. It was performance. And she was done being the audience. The next day, Hannah met Olivia at a small cafe near the courthouse. Olivia wore her usual sharp suit and serious expression. "You need a divorce attorney," she said immediately after listening to the recording. "And not just any attorney. Someone ruthless." Hannah nodded slowly. "I don't want revenge. I just want peace." Olivia leaned forward. "Then protect your peace legally. He's already building a case. You can't pretend this will just go away." Hannah looked down at her coffee. "I believed him when he said therapy was about us. I was stupid." "You weren't stupid," Olivia said gently. "You were loyal. That's different." By Friday, Hannah had an appointment with Leonard Garrison, a seasoned divorce attorney with sharp eyes and a calm voice. He listened to the recording twice without interruption, then leaned back in his chair. "That's one of the clearest cases of manipulation I've heard in a long time," he said. "Can I use it?" Hannah asked nervously. "Yes," he said firmly. "Our state allows one-party consent recordings. He'll never see this coming." "What about the house? If we show intent to deceive or defraud, the judge can rule against him in asset division. This isn't just divorce, it's legal strategy." Hannah exhaled slowly. For the first time in weeks, she felt the smallest flicker of control return to her chest. That weekend, Jason suggested they go out for dinner. Something normal, as he called it. Hannah agreed, keeping her voice calm and light. Over candlelight, he talked about taking a trip to Miami, once things get better. He even reached for her hand, smiling as if nothing was wrong. "How long do you think it'll take to fix us?" she asked softly. He shrugged. "Depends. But even if it doesn't, I'll make sure you're taken care of." Hannah tilted her head. "You mean financially?" He smirked. "Well, yeah. I'm not heartless." She smiled back. "Good to know." Her voice was steady, but inside, her heart was already moving on from him. The following Monday, Hannah filed quietly through Garrison's office. The paperwork felt heavy in her hands, but the act itself felt like breathing for the first time. Jason didn't know yet. He wouldn't, not until the documents reached him officially. That afternoon, she met with Dr. Morrison privately. The therapist looked startled when she explained what had happened. "Mrs. Cole," he said gently, "I'm so sorry. I didn't realize your husband was using our sessions for legal advantage." "I don't blame you," she said softly. "But would you be willing to confirm what you heard that day?" Dr. Morrison nodded. "Yes. I'll do what's right." That was the moment Hannah knew she wasn't alone anymore. 2 days later, Jason was served at work. The moment his phone started buzzing, Hannah was in her office reviewing reports, pretending everything was normal. 10 minutes later, her phone lit up. Jason calling. Then again. Then again. Finally, a text appeared. "What is this? Divorce papers? Are you insane?" She didn't respond. She turned her phone face down and continued typing. For years she'd been the one explaining, apologizing, fixing. This time, silence was her answer. That evening, Jason stormed into the house, waving the papers like they were an insult. "You blindsided me, Hannah," he shouted. "You blindsided me 6 weeks ago when you turned therapy into a legal rehearsal," she replied calmly. "You recorded me illegally." "No, Jason. Our state allows it." He blinked, caught off guard. "You can't use that in court." "Dr. Morrison is willing to testify," she said, her voice like steel. Jason's face turned pale. "He can't do that." "He can," she said. "Because you weren't just lying to me, you were lying to him too." Jason stared at her, his anger flickering between shock and disbelief. "You'll regret this," he muttered. "I already regret staying," she answered. For a moment, the house was silent except for the rain outside. Jason turned and stormed into the bedroom, slamming the door. Hannah stood in the hallway, shaking, but she didn't cry. Not this time. She walked to the window, looking out at the dark street, and whispered to herself, "You thought I wouldn't fight back. You were wrong." That night, she slept in the guest room with her phone beside her pillow. The recording saved, her courage finally awake. By Wednesday, Jason's mask had completely cracked. He slammed doors, muttered insults under his breath, and accused Hannah of destroying his reputation. But she had learned silence could be louder than shouting. Every word, every threat she recorded. Each night she sent the files to her lawyer for safekeeping. "He's trying to intimidate you," Garrison said over the phone. "Let him dig the hole himself. Judges notice patterns." I'm not scared of him anymore, Hannah whispered, staring out her kitchen window. Just tired. That's good, Garrison said. Tired means you're done surviving and ready to win. 2 days later, Jason's first move came. Hannah's boss called her into his office. There's been a complaint, he said gently. Anonymous. Claims you've been sharing personal details about your marriage and making co-workers uncomfortable. Hannah blinked in disbelief. That's not true. I know, her boss replied. But HR has to review it. She walked out numb. Jason was trying to ruin her professionally. But instead of crying, she smiled faintly. He still had the recording. And soon he'd have to explain himself to a judge who wouldn't be so easily manipulated. The next morning her debit card got declined at the grocery store. He called the bank. Someone had reported her card stolen. Jason. He'd frozen the joint account they shared. Hannah closed her eyes, forcing herself to stay calm. I'd like to open a new account under my name only, she said. The banker nodded sympathetically. Rough week. You could say that, she replied, her voice steady. Inside she felt something new, a quiet fire that came with reclaiming her power one decision at a time. That Friday a police officer knocked on her door. Mrs. Cole? You've been named in a temporary restraining order. Hannah's hands trembled as she took the paper. What? It's just a hearing notice, the officer said gently. You'll have your chance to respond. As soon as the door closed, she called Garrison. He's claiming I threatened him. Garrison sighed. It's retaliation. Don't panic. Bring everything to court. The recording, the messages, the therapist's statement. He's about to learn what real evidence looks like. The courtroom was small but heavy with tension. Judge Holloway, a woman with sharp eyes and a calm voice, looked from Jason to Hannah. Mr. Cole, you're requesting a restraining order? Jason nodded dramatically. I fear for my safety, Your Honor. Garrison stood. Then let's play the audio of what really happened during their therapy session. Jason's lawyer jumped up. Objection. Overruled, Judge Holloway said. Hannah pressed play. Jason's voice filled the room. She's too emotional to fight back. I'll get the house and the equity. Silence followed. The judge leaned back slowly. Mr. Cole, is this your voice? Jason's mouth opened but no sound came. Petition denied, Judge Holloway declared. If anyone feels unsafe here, it's clearly Mrs. Cole. Jason's lawyer tried to argue, but the judge raised a hand. Enough. This is manipulation, not fear. Mr. Cole, I suggest you focus on resolving your divorce rather than weaponizing the court system. As they left, Jason shot Hannah a glare that could have burned through steel. She met it head-on. You wanted to play games, she said quietly. Now you're losing. Outside the courthouse, Hannah's knees nearly gave out. Garrison caught her arm. Hey, breathe. You did great. I thought I was going to break down, she admitted. But you didn't, he said with a proud smile. And the judge saw right through him. That's huge. For the first time in months, Hannah laughed. A small, shaky laugh, but real. It feels strange, she said. Like I'm waking up after a long nightmare. Good, Garrison said. Because the next step is getting your house back permanently. A week later, Dr. Morrison filed his official statement. He confirmed that Jason had misused therapy and manipulated the process for personal gain. Garrison forwarded a copy to Hannah with one line, "Judges hate fraud." When Jason found out, he called her at midnight. You think you've won? You'll regret this. Hannah's voice was calm. I already told you, Jason. I only regret believing in you. She hung up before he could respond, her hand steady on the phone. She was done letting him rent space in her mind. The following week, the judge granted Hannah exclusive use of the property. Jason was legally required to move out. His reaction was explosive, emails, texts, and voicemails full of rage and guilt trips. She didn't answer a single one. The day he came to collect his belongings, his mother stood outside the house glaring at Hannah. You've ruined my son's life, she hissed. Hannah met her gaze evenly. No, ma'am. He did that himself. Then she shut the door and locked it. The click sounded like peace. When the house finally went quiet, Hannah walked through every room slowly. The walls that once held arguments now felt lighter. She touched the kitchen counter, remembering the nights she'd cried there, and whispered, "You survived." The recording that had once made her heart race with fear now sat saved on a flash drive in her lawyer's office, a reminder of what she'd overcome. That night she brewed herself tea, opened the windows to let in the cool air and finally slept soundly. For the first time in years she wasn't afraid of waking up alone. She was free. The next few days were quiet, almost too quiet. Hannah woke to sunlight spilling through the curtains, the kind she hadn't noticed in months. She went back to work, determined to rebuild piece by piece. Her boss welcomed her back warmly. "We reviewed that complaint," he said. "Completely unfounded. Whoever wrote it didn't even know your department's name." Hannah smiled softly. "Thank you for trusting me." He nodded. "You're one of the calmest people here, Hannah. Don't let anyone make you doubt that." That night she realized peace didn't always come in grand victories. Sometimes it was simply being believed. Jason, however, wasn't done making noise. Mutual friends started calling her. "He's telling people you lied to the court," one said. Another whispered, "He's posting online saying you ruined him." Hannah sighed. "Let him talk," she said. "The truth's already on record." She no longer felt the urge to defend herself. She had learned that silence could speak louder than gossip. People who mattered had already seen who Jason truly was, and those who believed him weren't her people anyway. 2 weeks later, mediation day arrived. Jason entered the conference room looking thinner, his confidence cracked. His lawyer avoided eye contact with Hannah's attorney. The mediator, a retired judge with silver hair and a steady gaze, took his seat. "Let's be civil," he began. Hannah nodded quietly. Jason just glared. "Mrs. Cole," the mediator said, "your husband's actions show clear intent to deceive. Given the recording, the therapist's statement, and the false claims, the court will favor you heavily. Are you open to settlement?" "Yes," she said. "I just want to close this chapter." Jason's lawyer shuffled papers. "We propose equal division of assets and alimony for 2 years." Garrison shook his head. "Absolutely not. She keeps the house, her savings, and personal items. No alimony. Your client forfeited that right when he weaponized therapy." Jason's voice broke through the silence. "You can't do this to me." The mediator looked unimpressed. "Mr. Cole, you did it to yourself." Hannah didn't smile, didn't gloat. She just exhaled, long and slow, feeling the weight lift off her shoulders like years dissolving in a moment. 3 weeks later, the divorce was finalized. No courtroom drama, no fireworks, just signatures, documents, and a final stamp. Hannah watched Jason sign the papers without a word. When it was her turn, she took the pen and wrote her name with a steady hand. As they walked out, Jason muttered, "I hope you're happy." Hannah turned to him one last time. "No, Jason. I'm peaceful, there's a difference." And with that she walked away from the courthouse, sunlight warming her face, feeling free for the first time in 14 years. The following month, Hannah began small renovations. She painted the living room pale green, replaced the heavy curtains with white linen, and filled the house with soft music instead of arguments. Every brushstroke felt like a new beginning. When Olivia stopped by to visit, she smiled. "It looks brighter in here," she said. "It feels brighter," Hannah replied. Olivia hugged her tightly. "I'm proud of you." "Me too," Hannah said, realizing for the first time that she truly meant it. One Saturday morning, a letter arrived from Dr. Morrison. Inside was a short handwritten note. "I admire your courage. Not everyone stands up for truth in therapy or in life. I wish you healing and peace." Hannah placed the note in her nightstand drawer. It wasn't just paper. It was proof that honesty still mattered in a world that had nearly convinced her otherwise. She smiled to herself, grateful that one professional had chosen integrity over silence. Occasionally she still dreamed of Jason, not the manipulator but the man she thought she'd married. The laughter, the long drives, the quiet mornings. But every time she woke she remembered the phone call, the betrayal, the plan he'd whispered when he thought she wasn't listening. The ache would come then fade. Healing wasn't quick, but it was happening. She'd once thought forgiveness meant letting someone back in. Now she knew it simply meant letting herself move forward. At work things began improving too. Her manager offered her a promotion to HR supervisor, recognizing her calm under pressure. "You handled a storm with grace," he said. Hannah smiled. "I guess storms teach you who you are." That evening she treated herself to dinner at her favorite restaurant. Alone but not lonely. She ordered dessert for the first time in years and thought this is what peace tastes like. Months passed and Jason eventually faded from her conversations, her thoughts, even her anger. Friends who once pitted her now admired her strength. "You're glowing lately," Olivia said during brunch one Sunday. Hannah laughed. "That's just what happens when you stop fighting for people who enjoy seeing you lose." It wasn't arrogance, just truth. She'd fought for a love that didn't deserve her, and when it collapsed she'd found something better. Herself. The house that had once been a battlefield became a home again. She started gardening, growing lavender and basil near the window. The smell filled the kitchen as she cooked, humming softly to herself. One afternoon a neighbor stopped by with a fresh pie. "We've seen you out here every weekend," the woman said kindly. "You look happy." Hannah smiled. "I am. Took a while but I got here." Occasionally she still saw Jason's name pop up in social media posts. Bitter comments, small jabs. But she never replied. Silence, she'd learned, was the best closure. It said what words never could: "You no longer have power here." And each time she ignored another post she felt a quiet triumph. Not the loud kind. The peaceful kind. The kind that only comes from knowing you told the truth and stood your ground. A year after the divorce, Hannah threw a small dinner for her closest friends. The house glowed with laughter and warmth. No tension, no lies, just real people and real joy. When Olivia raised a glass and said, "To Hannah for turning pain into power," everyone cheered. Hannah blushed but smiled deeply. "To peace," she said. "The kind you build yourself." That toast lingered in the air, golden and calm. Later that night, after everyone left, Hannah sat by the window with a cup of tea, the soft hum of crickets outside. She thought about everything. The lies, the court, the therapy sessions that had almost broken her. But instead of sadness, she felt gratitude. Every wound had turned into a boundary, every loss into wisdom. She whispered into the quiet room, "You tried to bury me, Jason, but all you did was plant me." Morning light streamed across the kitchen table where divorce papers once sat. Now there was only sunlight, a cup of coffee, and the scent of lavender from the garden. Hannah picked up her phone and texted Olivia, "I'm finally at peace." The message sent, she smiled to herself. Life hadn't turned out how she planned, but it had given her something better: strength, freedom, and truth. Moral lesson: sometimes betrayal doesn't destroy you. It reveals who you truly are, and reminds you that peace isn't found in revenge but in reclaiming your worth. Thanks you for watching, and please remember to tell us where you are watching from today. Hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to this channel for more of this.